Does semen cause decay? I'm just going to ask you straight out. Do dentists know if someone has had a spicy night the day before their appointment? Is it true that kissing transfers bacteria that can lead to cavities?
Ooh.
No way.
Ew. Yes.
That's dank. Yeah. That's dank. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a bit cheeky.
Subtle.
Yeah, very subtle. Can see that.
You can see it.
Well, that's awkward. Hey, happy Valentine's Day Eve, everyone. Hope you're all feeling the love because we have a very special episode in store for you guys today. Whether you are a lover, a dreamer, or a single Pringle, today's episode is for you. We are diving into a very juicy topic today, what your dentist knows about you but won't say. Now, yes, your eating and drinking habits, as well as some other things that might be taking place around Valentine's Day, are revealing more than you actually know. And then we will be diving into some spicy listener questions that have come in. Honestly, when I was prepping for this episode today, I was shook at some of the questions that have come through, and I cannot wait to get into this with you today. We have a very special guest on the show, Dr. Gina Yang, who is one of the fabulous senior dentists from Vogue Dental Studios. So Dr. Gina, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my goodness. You are, as I said before, the first cab off the rank in the show. I don't know if D counts as the first guest. I mean, he is like the visionary and the minds behind this podcast, but you are the first one, which is so exciting. So thank you for being here.
Of course.
Is this your first time seeing the studio or have you seen the space before?
No, first time ever.
How cute is it?
So cute.
We've got this beautiful floral and the vibrant neon sign. It's just gorgeous. Love it. Gina, tell us about yourself. Who are you and what do you do?
Well, boring parts first. So obviously, dentist here at Vogue. Been working as a dentist for about 10 years now. But that's the boring stuff. Outside of work, also pretty boring. So at the moment, all my life is just wedding planning.
Mm-hmm. When are you getting married?
In March.
What's the date?
9.
Wow. Okay, that is really soon.
So we're coming up.
So are you in like full wedding brain mode at the moment?
Full wedding brain mode.
Wow.
So when I'm at work, it's work. When I get home,
it's wedding.
Just fonts and place cards.
Amazing. Yeah. I love that. So have you got your dress obviously picked out? You've got everything else sorted? It's just the finer details now. Mm-hmm. Okay, what has been the most painful part about wedding planning?
Just people. Guests.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Dealing with like the in-laws.
Oh, yes, the in-laws.
Yeah.
Yes.
Love the in-laws.
We love the in-laws.
We love them. Everyone has opinions about everything.
Yes.
And then the wedding diet.
Yes, of course. And the wedding diet, I mean, you're looking beautiful anyway, so I don't really think you need to do much on that front. You said dentistry. Obviously, you've been in the industry for 10 years. Tell me, what is the most Vogue thing about the work that you do here at Vogue Dental?
Honestly, when I first started working at Vogue, I had no idea what to expect. I feel like, just based off of like Instagram and everything's so glamorous. And then you come in and it's still glamorous, but it's really good to see, I guess, how everyone all works together and how it's all like a nice, like almost like a work home and like a work family.
They really are a work family here.
So it just kind of makes, I don't know, like for me, Vogue feels like a second home.
I love that.
Kind of thing.
That's so cute.
But
I've heard some people say that, you shouldn't really call work family, but I feel like for a place like this, it really is fitting.
We're together all the time.
Absolutely.
And it's like a smaller-ish team as well. So I think we get to know each other all pretty well.
And where were you before Vogue Dental? Have you always been in dentistry or did you have a change of career?
Pretty much always been in dentistry. So before Vogue, I was at a few like different clinics. My last one before was at a corporate clinic. So very different kind of, I guess, workplace in the sense that it was kind of very like, half an hour, get in, get out. You see someone for, 25 minutes every 6 months or so, which is, I think, really nice here at Vogue because then we can actually spend a little bit longer getting to know the patients, getting to know their lives and their families instead of having everything just about teeth.
Absolutely. And I think building that rapport, as you said, is something that's so important for this type of industry too. I mean, why dentistry? Out of everything that you could have chosen, why dentistry?
I mean, honestly, when I finished high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do. So I did like biomed for 6 months, didn't like that, hated chemistry.
Oh, no, I was never good at chemistry.
It was a nightmare.
I don't remember, I think, like a single element of the periodic table, so please don't quiz me about anything.
But I wouldn't even know. But then I tried commerce for 6 months, didn't like that. And then I did actually I was kind of a little bit lost. I did have an interview at a few different unis for dentistry that I never actually did straight after year 12. So I reapplied, got in and was like, you know what, I'll just try it out. Yeah. If I hate it, can always try something else. And I actually really, really loved it. So it just happened.
Yeah, it's an interesting point you make about, finishing school and not knowing exactly what you want to do. And I think that that's a pressure that a lot of young students face. I mean, I was the same too when I finished school. And I think even asking a young person, what do you want to do when you finish school? It's like, how long's a piece of string kind of thing. There's so much. And I know that, people like yourself and even me too, you don't necessarily follow a set trajectory. You might say that you want to do one thing and then you try it and realize I actually don't quite like this. It's not really for me. So obviously that's your dentistry background, and then other passions and hobbies outside of wedding planning. What else do you do with yourself?
So I'm honestly not the most active person in the world. So honestly, my outside life is just basically just thinking for the next restaurant I can eat at.
Are you a foodie?
I love food.
Oh my goodness, me too. Okay, well we can absolutely debrief about all the best places and restaurants to eat. Do you have a favourite restaurant in Melbourne?
You know what? I want to try them all.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that.
There's always those places that you go back to and then you're like, you know what? I've been at this place 3 times in the last
And they know you by first name and they've already got your table set
they've got
for
your
you.
order and
I
you're
love
like,
that.
I really need to try something new when I'm here, but I don't.
Yeah. Love that. Let's get into the first segment. I mean, what your dentist knows about you but won't say. You have obviously seen thousands and thousands of patients a year, helping them to achieve their dream smiles. What are some things that you can instantly tell about someone when they sit in the chair just by looking at their teeth?
You can tell if they grind their teeth at night. You can tell if they're brushing, and we can definitely tell when you're not flossing as well. So don't lie.
How often do you get people in that don't? Let's just start with brushing. How often do people not brush their teeth?
Do you know what? When I was first starting out, I think I've just never been so shocked.
No, don't say that.
Because I don't know, when you grow up, it's always kind of just rammed into you. You brush twice a day, you floss every day. Look, I would love it if everybody flosses every day, but I would at least expect everyone to brush their teeth twice a day. But I'm always surprised that doesn't always happen.
Wow. So how often are we talking that someone walks in the clinic or sits in the chair and has not brushed their teeth?
Ooh. At least a few people a day.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
That is honestly mind-boggling to me that people would come to their dental checkup and not have brushed their teeth.
Sometimes the really funny thing is sometimes you can tell when they've come in, they don't brush well normally, and then before they come to the dentist, they've done just a really good scrub.
A rough scrub and the gums are all red and inflamed. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I always thought about, flossing is something that I think, nearly 40% of Australians don't floss their teeth, which again is wild. But then even just something as basic as brushing, you would expect or think that people would brush their teeth, right? That is just god awful.
So that's something I'm always shocked by.
Crazy. What are some of the common eating or drinking habits that people don't realise are actually affecting their teeth?
So the main thing is, and this does get a little bit technical, so basically the main cause of decay is basically bacteria. So bacteria poop. It's acidic, it breaks enamel down, and that's how you get the cavities and the holes. So it's more often timing of what you're eating instead of actually what you're eating. So put it this way, someone who's constantly snacking on fruit, which is healthy, they love fruit, versus someone who has a whole chocolate cake at dinner time, the person that's snacking on fruit is probably more likely to get decay versus that whole chocolate cake.
Interesting. And why is that exactly?
It's because your saliva is meant to actually buffer out the pH in your mouth. So if you're constantly having something to eat, especially something that's a little bit sweet, just naturally sweet, even like fruit, it means that your saliva can't buffer that out. So the acid level in your mouth is always high in a sense.
Okay.
So it means that if you do have any plaque sitting in your teeth and that's starting a cavity, that will snowball and actually progress a lot quicker versus if you're just having dessert at nighttime.
Interesting.
Well.
So if I was that person, for example, who was eating fruit quite regularly, is there something that I could do to prevent those cavities, let's say? Should I be brushing my teeth straight after a meal or straight after eating?
Yeah. Anytime that you eat, would always recommend waiting at least 20 minutes before you actually go and brush. Same concept. Every time you eat, food normally is a little bit more acidic, so you don't want to go in and brush all of that away while your enamel is a little bit weaker or softer.
I have heard that. I have heard people say that you should wait after brushing your teeth. I mean, I'm someone who, you want to try and get that smell, that taste out of your mouth, especially if you're at work or something and you've got meetings and, you've had a bit of a weird lunch, and you want to brush straight away, but I have heard that you should wait. So it's for that reason, right?
And something that you can do just to freshen up, because you can do a mouthwash afterwards. Okay. Really, really good rinse out with just water as well, just to kind of make sure. So it doesn't
necessarily have to be like a
if you do want that like fresh minty breath, mouthwash will do absolutely fine. But even just chewing some gum, sugar-free gum, and then just having good rinse with water would really help a lot as well.
Okay. Is there a food or drink that you secretly don't like to admit that you actually eat or drink that's bad for you?
Yes.
I'm exposing you here.
Yes.
What is it?
I am addicted to Coke Zero.
Yeah, I know. Oh my gosh. I'm actually so glad you said that because
it's constantly in the fridge. Like I will literally have a mild panic if I just don't have anything at home.
Oh my goodness, you are singing my tune. Do you know my family don't understand? I sometimes say to them, I get to that point during the day where I'm like, I need a Coke Zero. I need a Coke Zero. So I actually thought I was the only one.
It just hits the right spot.
Oh, I just hit the spot. It's the gassy caffeine. Yes. It's just what you need, which is absolutely not what we should be telling people.
No, definitely not.
Do not drink Coke Zero.
Definitely not.
But yes, I do love Coke Zero. In terms of staining though on the teeth, for someone who has natural teeth like myself, I mean, I do like to whiten my teeth, but I know that it makes my teeth quite porous. How bad is Coke Zero for the teeth?
Pretty bad. Okay. So it's, number one, obviously it's a dark color. So any stain particles that will tend to stay, but it's also quite acidic as well, which is worse because if you're having anything acidic over time, that actually wears down your enamel. The enamel is the white layer of the tooth. So as your enamel wears down, no matter how much you whiten, if you've got a thin layer of enamel, your teeth aren't actually going to get nice, white and bright because you don't have that enamel that we can actually whiten as well.
Okay. So to protect the enamel, what tips do you have?
So not having Coke Zero.
As a starter, yes.
And then definitely looking at getting just a gentle toothpaste. So you don't want anything charcoal. You don't want anything gritty. You want something that's non-abrasive. Try to avoid anything that's really acidic. So I know lemon water is a thing. Apple cider vinegar is a thing. Try to avoid it. And definitely try to avoid brushing your teeth straight after them as well. Okay. So basically soft toothbrush, gentle toothpaste. Try to stay away from the soft drinks.
From the soft drinks. Okay. What about wine though? So let's say I'm going out on a date and I want to sit at the table and be really sophisticated with a nice glass of red wine. What would you say to me drinking the red wine for my teeth?
Ooh.
Should I be brushing them pretty much?
You do want to make sure that before you go on the date, everything's really, really nice and clean and plaque-free. So we don't want any furriness on the teeth. Because number one, not a good look. And number two, that furriness is what the stain will stick to. Gotcha. So you know how some people, I don't know, in movies, they have a glass of red wine and everything kind of turns a little bit not so fantastic. It's usually sticking to that furriness on the teeth. But when you're on a date and you have to have a glass of red, just some water afterwards, do a subtle little swish, can help a lot.
Okay. And what about smoking? Smoking for the teeth. How often do you have people that come in that have visible signs of, smoking from many years?
I feel like it's definitely lessened now, and I don't know if that's because people are maybe smoking less or if people are vaping more.
Okay,
So,
vapors,
yeah.
listen in. Tell us, how bad is vaping for the teeth? Because I know that for years we have seen, on the packaging of cigarettes where they show that the teeth have pretty much rotted away. I guess because vaping is still such a recent thing, I would say, and something that a lot of young people do, we haven't really seen the knock-on effects of that for our oral hygiene or teeth. So how bad is vaping for the teeth?
Pretty bad. I think it's worse because unlike smoking, you're not seeing like the visual effects on the teeth so much. If you're smoking, that will stain the teeth. You can be like, oh, I have to stop smoking because it's staining my teeth. Whereas with vaping, you don't get that staining as much, but you're still getting that nicotine. And it's just horrendous on the gums. So with gum disease, it's such a, what's the word for it? Kind of like an insidious little disease. Like you don't notice it until either your dentist tells you or until it's too late. So you might notice heaps of gum recession. You might start noticing like gaps in between the teeth as your gums recede. You start noticing the discoloration as well. So once you actually lose your gums and you lose that foundation, that bone support underneath, there's not really anything we can do to bring it back. So we just really want to stop it and stop, things that could be causing it before it actually gets to that point as well.
And what are the options for someone? Let's say they have gotten to that stage where their gums have receded so much, there is no, support there. What are the options for them?
If it is really bad, sometimes there's no other option but to look at removing all the teeth and getting implants and or a full denture.
Yes.
Like sometimes it can get that bad.
Yeah. And going back to a point you mentioned before about, teeth grinding, it's something for me that I actually didn't realize I was doing. So backstory, not that anyone really cares, but I'm going to say it anyway. I had orthodontic treatment growing up, as most young kids do, got braces. When my braces came off, I realized that my teeth were actually quite short. And so I went to see a dentist and he did a bit of composite bonding work on there to help lengthen my teeth. But he said to me that there are visible signs that I've been grinding my teeth for years. And so now I wear a retainer every night, which is great because it protects my bonding in my teeth. But how often do you see people with those visible signs of stress or grinding?
I reckon it's like 70-80%.
Wow, so it's really common.
Yeah, super, super common.
Yeah.
Obviously different severities in everyone. Some people might just do it a little bit. Some people might do it constantly, even just during the day as well. It's just one of those things where when you see it, you can't unsee it and you just notice it everywhere. You notice it straight away. You notice it on people like talking on TV as well. It's just everywhere.
And what are those visible signs? Is it the little jaggedness on the teeth?
Sometimes it's not jaggedness. Sometimes it's just a really, really straight edge.
Okay.
So if you've got like straight edges, super straight on the teeth and you don't have that natural little curve in between, usually it's a sign that you've just been grinding your teeth at night.
Okay.
Depending on your bite as well. So usually when someone bites together in like a regular bite, you have your top teeth here and your bottom teeth here and basically the edges don't touch. And people are often like, oh, there's no way that I'm grinding because my teeth don't touch there at the front. And then you kind of get them to bring their teeth out like this, move it to the side, and you kind of see the little wear facets perfectly match up.
Oh, I see.
And it's such a weird position to put your jaw in. Usually you don't do that while you're awake. You do it when you're asleep.
You're sleeping. Okay, so silent killer for the teeth. Is there anything that people can do to kind of prevent that? I mean, obviously apart from wearing retainers, is there anything as dentists that you'd recommend?
I mean, unfortunately you can't control what you're doing when you're asleep. So often a big factor is stress. So we say reduce stress. Look,
easier said than done.
Exactly. You can get Botox in your jaw muscles as well.
Is that the masseter Botox that I've heard of? Okay. So I've seen a lot of people on Instagram and, influencers talk about getting it done. And I wasn't sure if it was for if it had an aesthetic effect or if it was actually to prevent grinding in the night.
I mean, it does both. So basically how Botox works is it stops the muscles from being able to contract or basically talk to each other so much. So if we're not activating the muscle so much, we're not grinding with as much force or grinding at all, hopefully. Whereas when you're not using the muscle so much, you also lose a little bit of that muscle. So it can, from an aesthetic point of view, it can slim the jaw a little bit, which some people want and some people hate as well.
Right. Another thing I have seen on TikTok, which is actually going back to the point around flossing, I've seen influencers use these water flossers.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me a little bit about that? Are they a gimmick or are they actually a good thing? Are they better than manual flossing? Because I just use like those little green cookie pixter thingies because they're so easy for me to like massage my gums and get in there. Because growing up, I used to hate, having to roll the floss around my fingers and try and get it in there. So what's the go with these water flossers?
I mean, I love a water flosser.
Okay.
But it's honestly whatever you'll use more. Like if you're a manual flosser and you just want to get in there with the string floss and get all up in there, perfect. But if you know you're not that kind of a person and you know it's just going to be easier for you to use the water flosser, go for it. Okay. It's great at getting into the hard to reach spots that you can't quite get to with the physical floss. Great for around implants, like under bridges, and just flushes everything out, and it's just quick and easy and convenient, and it just helps the gums so much.
I always laugh though when I see people use them because they like spray so aggressively into the mouth. I've seen, influencers with like water all over their face trying to use them. So I'm sure that you've probably mastered the technique of how to use a water flosser properly.
I always tell people to get a little mirror and start in the shower. Otherwise it just goes everywhere at the start.
That's a hot tip for everyone listening. What about tongue scrapers? Should everyone have a tongue scraper? Because yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ew.
Okay. Is there a particular type of tongue scraper that you would recommend? I know that there's like stainless steel, copper. What's the best one on the market?
I would say stick to stainless steel. Like easy to clean, retains better. You're not worried about rusting at all because also ill. Definitely try to avoid the plastic ones because bacteria can grow on those ones. But yeah, just get in there with a tongue scraper. There's so much bacteria just hanging out there that can cause bad breath. Even if you're just the best brusher, the best flosser, if you're not scraping your tongue, things can stick around.
So I was going to ask, with bad breath, is that caused by bacteria that's on the tongue, or is that actual brushing of the teeth, or is it a combination of both?
Definitely a combination. So with going back to gum disease as well, a lot of that is caused like plaque that's kind of sitting in between the teeth, underneath the gums and really locked in there. But in the absence of all of that, it's usually tongue bacteria.
Okay. And then oil pulling. What is the trend? What is going on with oil pulling?
Look, I honestly don't get it.
You don't get it?
Okay. I don't get it. I don't think it does anything at all. I mean, like, it's not going to be bad for you. So if you like it and you feel like it's beneficial, go for your life.
Can you explain to people what oil pulling is for anyone that's listening that doesn't know?
Well, I've heard it's always coconut oil.
Yes.
I don't know.
That's what I've heard too.
Yeah. So basically you swish coconut oil in your mouth for about 20 minutes.
Ew, that just sounds a bit weird to me.
And I was like, if you can be bothered to do that, floss.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
But I mean, I kind of get it in a way because coconut oil, I mean, it's great for your hair. It can be quite moisturizing on your gums. It's not going to be detrimental. And the simple act of actually swishing something in your mouth around for that long will probably help to dislodge anything that's kind of stuck in between your teeth.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be bad for you, but I don't know if it's all together going to help too much.
Okay. So pretty much just basic dental kit is your toothbrush, soft toothbrush, good toothpaste, mouthwash, if you want, tongue scraper.
Tongue scraper.
As we've learned today, is essential. So I think everyone should be getting onto a tongue scraper. And yeah, good brushing, no fur on the teeth.
No.
All that kind of stuff. Amazing. Well, the moment we have been waiting for, and Dr. Gina, I know you are so excited about this segment of the podcast. I am going to read you some spicy listener questions that have been sent in for Valentine's Day. Are you ready?
Go for it.
Okay, we're going to start easy. What foods should I avoid on a date?
I mean, there's the obvious ones. So you don't want to have too much onion. You don't want to have too much garlic. I would say as well, be careful of anything that might get stuck in between the teeth. Spinach is a great one. Furry things, even like people biting into mangoes and you get the little strings in between as well.
Yes, mangoes are an annoying one, aren't they?
Yeah. But honestly, there's nothing too crazy.
Yeah.
Eat whatever you want.
And always good to check your teeth in the little mirror, especially as girls. I mean, I love carrying my compact mirror around because I'm obsessed with just checking that I've got nothing in my teeth. That comes from me though. One day presenting at work and I had a little green green number in my tooth, and no one in the office actually told me that it was hanging in there. And so I got to the end of my presentation thinking I did this fabulous job, and then I had this lovely little thing hanging in my teeth. So great tips there. I've had someone ask, should I brush my teeth before or after oral sex?
Do both.
Do both.
Do both.
Yes, just always brush your teeth.
Number one, before. I mean, just out of pure respect.
That's fair enough.
For the other person. Like if you've got, like you've just had, like a garlic pasta and then you're going down on someone. Like, come on. Right?
No, can do. Absolutely not.
And then after, just for your sake, go for it.
Okay. Someone else has asked, is it okay to share a toothbrush with my partner or a one-night stand?
Ew. Yeah. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Do dentists know if someone has had a spicy night the day before their appointment?
Depends how spicy you got. I'm not going to check the other end.
Tell me.
But if you were really getting in there or someone's really getting in you, sometimes it can bruise a little bit at the back of your throat.
Are you serious? So you can see that?
You can see it.
Well, that's awkward. Okay.
We don't mention it.
No, that is definitely
there.
one of the things that dentists would see and not mention. Oh, okay. Well, that is good to know. And is there a time that you should wait after a spicy night? So anyone who has dental check-ins booked after Valentine's Day, should they be waiting a few days for the bruising to go down, or is it something that just dissipates?
Often you just have no idea that it's there. It's not sore at all. It's just there. We don't mention it. You don't mention anything.
Oh, my goodness.
It's all good.
I genuinely didn't think that was a thing. I thought that was a myth. So you've
100%
you've clarified that. Wow. Okay. Is it true that kissing transfers bacteria that can lead to cavities?
Yes, which is why I'm not a big fan of sharing toothbrushes as well, because there's always going to be certain bacteria that will cause decay more, and say that person has more of that bacteria and you're just sharing spit. That bacteria gets in you. Honestly, look, it's not going to, if you're great at oral hygiene anyway, it's not going to make any difference in the world. But if you're perhaps not so great and suddenly that bacterial load tips over a little bit more, you can actually be at higher risk of getting cavities. It's actually, detracting a little bit from Valentine's Day, especially with babies as well, because babies are born without any of that bacteria in the mouth. So if you're sharing spit with your baby and...
So like kissing your baby, you mean?
Kissing your baby, like licking something and then giving to them, that kind of thing.
Right.
You can actually introduce that bacteria into your baby's mouth.
Okay. Does semen cause decay? I'm just going to ask you straight out.
No.
Okay.
Composition-wise.
Let's break it down.
It's healthy for you, apparently. But it doesn't. It has a tiny bit of natural sugar in it, but it's not really going to make any difference to you.
Fantastic. I'm glad that we can all continue doing what we're doing and not worry about our teeth rotting away. Secret trick to make your teeth look amazing before a date.
Have you ever heard of tooth toners?
No.
It's like purple shampoo for your teeth.
Oh, I think there's a brand that does like a purple toothpaste. I thought that was a gimmick. Is that actually a thing?
It doesn't last super long. But if it's for a date and just that first impression, you don't need it to last super long. It's going to go away when you start eating or have a drink. But it kind of basically, purple neutralizes yellow. So it kind of helps to brighten your teeth just a little bit.
I used to be like Barbie blonde for my roots. So I do know because I used to use, purple shampoo and stuff. So is that like a whitening agent?
It's just like a color corrector. Yeah.
Interesting.
So it's just basically like purple colored shampoo. It kind of mixes in with your saliva, sits on the teeth for a little bit, gives them a little bit of whiteness. And then you have something again? Tooth toner.
Tooth toner.
There's a few different brands out there. They all kind of do the same thing.
Okay. I've had someone write in, this one's a little bit, embarrassing. Someone has said, my partner has bad breath. How can I tell them nicely without offending them?
Sometimes you just have to tell them. I think depends on the relationship.
Yeah.
Some people can just be like, look, you got stanky breath.
Yeah. That's dank.
Yeah.
That's dank. Yeah.
Sometimes you have to be a little bit more subtle about it. Like, oh, you know, like I saw this toothpaste at the store the other day. Or like, oh, maybe you should go in for a dental checkup.
Yeah. Okay. And maybe just like take them along to an appointment with you, you know, subtly encourage them to
or
get
you can
those
be like,
teeth checked.
oh, like, you know, like I think I have bad breath.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll do that like reversal kind of switcheroo to mess with their mind. That's a bit cheeky.
Subtle.
Yeah, very subtle. Last question for you. Tips for having fresh smelling breath on a date all night long, apart from the obvious ones like mints, for example.
I mean, definitely watching what you're eating as well. Drink plenty of water.
Yes.
And I think, I mean, if you want minty fresh, you'd probably have to stick with the mints or even the little tiny like Listerine, like the little pack ones that you can pop in as well.
Oh my goodness. You know, growing up, I used to think that they were like the coolest thing. I used to whip them out of my bag and put one on my tongue and, you know, oh my goodness, I actually miss those. They still sell them, right?
You know, I was just thinking that when I mentioned it.
Do they still sell them?
Usually like when you go to the checkout counter, they're kind of there, but I haven't seen them around lately.
I think next time I'm at the chemist, I might pick up a pack. I love them. That wraps our segment here. Tell me, what are you doing for Valentine's Day? Don't tell me you're planning your wedding on Valentine's Day.
Probably.
Surely you're doing something else for Valentine's Day.
I mean, look, my fiance, he is the most unromantic.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, we're exposing the fiance.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Useless. Love him to bits, but just not a single romantic bone in his body. So you know what? I plan Valentine's Day.
You do you. Absolutely. And I think sometimes as women too, we just need to take the bull by the horns and just plan.
Do what you enjoy.
Yeah.
At least you know then.
Absolutely. Plan your own Valentine's Day. I don't even think I have plans either. I think the longer you get into a relationship too, it just kind of becomes like a...
Yeah. He goes on a whole spiel about, it's a farce, like it's too expensive.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Well, Dr. Gina, thank you so, so much for being part of our episode today and for being the most wonderful guest on the show. For everyone listening and still watching, make sure that you're following us on YouTube, Instagram and TikTok at Smile the Makeover Scoop. And also, we want to hear from you. So please do send in any questions, smile stories, topics, or even guests that you guys want to see on the show. And you can email us at hello@smilethemakeoverscoop.com.au and keep an eye out on Instagram as well, because we will regularly be putting up some question and answer boxes for you guys to drop anything you want to see on the channel. Well, that wraps the episode. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you guys next week. Bye for now. This podcast is for informational purposes only and does not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice. Please consult with a professional for specific advice tailored to your situation.